Liberal MP and accused Chinese Communist state sympathizer Han Dong has got to be fired. There are too many questions surrounding undue Chinese state influence on him, and the Liberals refuse to give Canadians the truth. Until Canadians get the answers they deserve from the Liberals and from Dong himself, Dong has got to go. Go to firedong.com, sign the petition, and help us fight back.
In a free democracy, it is not up to unelected security officials to dictate to political parties who can or cannot run. That's a really important principle.
The mainstream media and the Liberals told us, completely erroneously, that there were Russians under the hood of every truck that went to Ottawa to protest last February. Remember this clip?
Given Canada's support of Ukraine in this current crisis with Russia, I don't know if it's far-fetched to ask, but there is concern that Russian actors could be continuing to fuel things as this protest grows, but perhaps even instigating it from the outset.
Now, there was no evidence that the huge convoy for freedom to protest Trudeau's COVID restrictions was a Kremlin operation. CBC even had to retract that baseless claim. There was actually never any evidence that last year's trucker-led Freedom Convoy to Ottawa demonstration was anything but a widespread, organic, grassroots movement of fed-up working-class activists. But there is, indeed, real foreign meddling. China is influencing the outcome of our elections, and their Beijing communist subversion is working. And nothing has been done about it because the clandestine meddling benefits Justin Trudeau's favorite dictatorship.
Of admiration I actually have for China, because their basic dictatorship is allowing them to actually turn their economy around on a dime.
Now, the allegation I'm making is no joke. The Canadian spy agency CSIS, the Canadian Security Intelligence Service, concluded China is helping Justin Trudeau win elections. Look at this. The Globe and Mail, citing classified Canadian Security Intelligence Service records, reported that China worked to help ensure a Liberal minority victory in the 2021 general election, as well as defeat politicians considered unfriendly to Beijing. In particular, those records noted China's former consul general in Vancouver, Tong Xiaoling, boasted in 2021 about how she helped defeat two Conservative MPs, Kenny Chiu in Steveston, Richmond East, which was won by Liberal candidate Parm Baines, and longtime Richmond Centre MP Alice Wong, who lost to Liberal candidate Wilson Mao. So let's stop right here. China is helping Trudeau by targeting for defeat pro-Canada, anti-communist Chinese Canadians in election campaigns. To put this absolute madness another way, ethnic Chinese Canadians are being undermined on Canadian soil by the sinister Chinese state. But those Chinese Canadians who are being undermined, well, they're conservatives. And so Trudeau doesn't mind. And if you question the communist foreign influence on the outcome of Canadian elections, well, you're a racist.
One of the things we've seen, unfortunately, over the past years is a rise in anti-Asian racism linked to the pandemic and concerns being arisen around people's loyalties. I want to make everyone understand fully that Han Dong is an outstanding member of our team, and suggestions that he is somehow not loyal to Canada should not be entertained.
Now let's go back to the Liberal I mentioned at the top of this video. He's the Liberal MP for the Toronto riding of Don Valley North, Han Dong. Here's why Han Dong has to be fired. Look at this in the National Post. Global News reported Friday evening that Han Dong was allegedly helped by the Chinese consulate while running in the Toronto area riding of Don Valley North during the 2019 election. The report cites anonymous sources that alleged the Canadian Security Intelligence Service urged senior Liberal Party staff to rescind his nomination, but Party leader Justin Trudeau approved his candidacy. Dong, who was reelected in 2021, says in a statement that his nomination and campaign teams have found no indication of irregularities or compliance issues regarding his candidacy or election. Okay, so Dong investigated himself and found that he was innocent. How very Trudeau of this guy. To be clear, Dong denies the allegations, but he is named as one of 11 candidates. 11 candidates China helped in the 2019 election. According to reports, seniors were bussed in to vote for Dong during his nomination battle with his name written on their arms. Again, according to reports that relied on CSIS leaks, international students were also threatened that they would lose their visa status in Canada if they didn't vote for Dong.
Through a combination of CSIS documents and intelligence sources, Global News has learned the consulate allegedly sent 2 busloads of Chinese-Canadian seniors to the Don Valley North Liberal nomination meeting, and those seniors knew who to vote for because Don's name was written on their arm. Sources also say CSIS suspected that Chinese international students with faked addresses were bussed in and told by the PRC consulate to support their preferred candidate if they wanted to maintain their student visa status.
An independent news site, Blacklocks, has been pointing out Dong's weird sycophancy for China for years, using exclusive internal documents. According to documents obtained by Blacklocks, Cabinet was worried about the optics of accepting pandemic supplies from China and Chinese corporations like Huawei and Alibaba. However, it didn't stop them from accepting the donations. They just didn't want anybody to know about it. But Dong, he was wondering why the federal government wasn't celebrating the donations and shouting them from the rooftops for all to hear. A closer examination of Dong's voting records in the House of Commons indicates a real willingness to ignore China's human rights violations, including Dong leaving the House of Commons just before he had to cast a vote in a Liberal-sponsored motion condemning China's genocide against Uyghurs and Turkic Muslims. Dong needs to be fired immediately. Let's reverse the roles here for a second. Imagine if a conservative had spy agency reports swirling around them about Russia bussing in seniors with his name on their arms for a vote and then threatening foreign students to help the conservative win his nomination. And the MP involved eventually goes on to skip out last minute, conveniently, on a vote condemning Russia's human rights violations. The Liberals would be losing what was left of their minds. But right now, they're the ones willing to sacrifice the integrity of our democracy to the Chinese communists as long as it means the Liberals winning a few ridings. Dong should do the right thing and resign, but if doing the right thing were a concern for him, he would have voted to condemn China for genocide. So we know Dong can't be counted on this to do it for himself. So we're calling on Trudeau to fire Dong, kick him out of the caucus, and launch a public inquiry into Chinese election interference. If you want to help, go to firedong.com, sign the petition. On that same website, we have a preloaded email that you can send directly to the Prime Minister's office demanding a public inquiry into Chinese foreign influence in Canadian elections. And if you're so inclined, please consider making a donation. We have some other clever, maybe fun strategies to bring some public awareness about our China-installed MPs. Han Dong is a security threat to Canada, and we as Canadians just lived through a year's worth of Liberals telling us that bouncy castles, hot tubs, and intermittent honking in protest of Justin Trudeau in Ottawa amounted to a national security crisis requiring extraordinary tools and the suspension of civil liberties to deal with. And yet, it appears we have a China-installed, or maybe several China-installed members of Parliament sitting in the government caucus, privy to confidential and classified government documents and meetings. And the Liberals don't seem to think that this is an actual big deal. And we know there's no possible way Justin Trudeau didn't know about any of this. He okayed Han Dong's candidacy after CSIS warnings. So let's show the Liberals it is a big deal, that Canadians care about real national security issues and the integrity of our elections, and that we stand against foreign influence, real foreign influence, not the made-up CBC kind. So please go to firedong.com, sign our petition. On that same website, you'll find a preloaded email. You can click it and send it directly to Justin Trudeau's office demanding a public inquiry. And if you can, make a donation. We have some big plans to shame the Liberals into doing the right thing, but they cost money. Make your outrage known. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. Liberal MP and accused Chinese Communist state sympathizer Han Dong has to be fired. There are too many questions surrounding undue Chinese state influence on him and not enough answers. If you want answers and you want to help, please go to firedong.com, sign the petition, send the email, make a donation.